Hey everyone, it is Kerry with Trail Traveler, and today we're talking GMRS, but not just GMRS radios. We're specifically going to talk about repeaters. What is a repeater? Why would you use it? Why might you want to have your own repeater? Things like that. And then how to set up this specific repeater, which is a Retevis RT97 GMRS repeater. So let's start with basics. What is a repeater, right? Well, the easiest way to think of a repeater is this is a unit that has two radios. It has a radio for incoming signal and a radio for outbound signal, okay? So as we're on our radio and we transmit, we're transmitting from a handheld or a mobile unit. It picks it up on our transmitting frequency, transmits it out on a slightly different frequency. It's just offset a little bit, and that's it. So then we have another radio that picks up the signal from the outbound radio. So we come in on one side, we go out on the other side, and it just repeats that signal, and it's instant. There's no delay. It comes in, it goes out on a slightly different frequency. So why? Why would you need a repeater, right? Well, let's think about this for a minute. These handheld radios are typically 5 watts. Now, this is a low power repeater. This is a 10-watt repeater. So while it's double the power of this, there's more to it than that, right? Now, for testing purposes, I started by having a good antenna just on a pole in my backyard before actually moving it to the roof of my house. So for that, yes, while I can get a good signal most of the time on the ground from here with these little antennas, having twice the power up high on the roof, giving it a much broader area that it's working with, is going to get that signal out a lot farther. Let's take a specific scenario, and I've talked about this in some other videos. Let's say Katerina is here at home and I'm out on one of the fishing lakes nearby. Now, I don't have any cell signal there because of just where it's at. There's not near any cell signals, but I could get radio communication if it was able to reach me. Well, she can be in the house. She can just pull up an inexpensive, $30, $40 GMRS radio, transmit from inside the house. The repeater, the antenna on the roof, will grab that signal, retransmit it at a higher wattage with a much better field of view, and me, 15, 20 miles away on a lake, can pick that up and talk back. So it gives a lower power system the ability to cover a much broader range. So here in Colorado, we have the Front Range GMRS Users Group. We have about 7 different repeaters set up around the state. And me being up here in northern Colorado can reach a repeater that's basically in downtown Denver, which can then repeat that signal out at the same strength. And instead of me only being able to get a handful of miles of range with one of these, I can actually talk to someone, and have done so with someone 100 miles away. So that's a good use of a repeater. Now, the cool thing about this little guy, this portable one, is it can run off 12 or 24 volt power, and even comes with your standard like cigarette lighter type plug. But why would you want that? Well, let's say you are doing a trail run and you've got 15, 20, 25 vehicles on the trail with you. It's pretty easy to get the person in the front separated by the person all the way in the back by a mile, mile and a half, sometimes more. And we're talking about being in the mountains. We're talking about having a lot of trees around. It's pretty easy for the lead vehicle to not be able to communicate with the tail vehicle. Now, if we take a portable repeater with us and put this in the middle of the group, hey, now we're talking. Now the person in the front doesn't have to reach the person in the rear. They only have to be able to reach the person with the repeater, and it's going to retransmit that signal at twice the power of a handheld to reach the person all the way in the back. So pretty good uses for this. Now, I'm not using this on the trails. I have a 50 watt radio. I don't really need to deal with that. I've got nice antennas in the vehicle. But for here at home, I said there's two purposes for me to set this up. One, that exact situation that I mentioned where Katarina, being at home, can pick up a handheld radio and reach me 15, 20 miles away. Also, it's a community service. So I've let people here in my town know about it, and they can use it if they choose. Well, nobody's using it right now because it's sitting here in my hand. So I'll need to get this set back up again fairly soon. I don't know how many people are using it right now, but I make it available for the general public to use as well. So what does this thing come with? Well, I already mentioned the 12 volt plug, and it comes with an AC plug. So we can plug it into wall power, mains power, and use it that way, or we can run it off 12 volt. You will need an antenna, and I use a Retevis antenna. I'll show you a picture of it here. This is on basically an umbrella pole that I used for initial setup and testing before we went and mounted it up on the roof to one of the standpipes up there. So pretty simple. Now it also comes with a programming cable that I'm going to show you how it works in just a moment. Now, essentially, you can use this right out of the box. Plug it in, hook up a antenna to it, decide which of the 8 repeater channels you want to use, set your radios to that repeater channel, and you're good to go. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the programming of it. So we're going to plug in the programming cable, which simply goes into the power port on here and has USB on the other side. Now, when we plug this in, we're going to get a light on the display, but we're not going to see anything. We're not going to see anything displayed there. And then we're going to run the RT97 app, which is only available for Windows. So be aware of that if that's an issue for you. And it comes up like here. So first thing I'm going to do is go to set my COM port. It detects COM3, and I'll go program, read data. Boom, finished. All right, pretty simple. So I have the 8 repeater channels all here. It tells me what the frequency in, the frequency out is, whether I have any privacy codes set up, the transmit power, and whether it's wide or narrow. So pretty basic stuff right here. By default, there's no privacy code set up. So anybody who sets their radio to one of the 8 repeater channels is going to be able to use it. No big deal. If you want to restrict people from using it, then you could go in here and set up privacy codes. I'll just kind of show you what this looks like here. So you have the CT CSS codes, and then you can come down to the DCS codes. You could make this, DC31, and you could have a different code for outbound if you wanted. So, I mean, you could make it fairly difficult for someone to find the repeater and use it. It's possible because you can scan the air for the privacy codes. We're not going to deal with that right now. We're just going to get the thing up and running and make it usable. So that's the software for it. Not that difficult to use, pretty basic, and it does the job quite well. Next, we're going to take out the programming cable here. We're going to plug in the AC adapter. And I even have a an antenna ready to go. Now, because we're running on regular power, we can see what frequency we're running on here, and we can compare that to the app, the Retevis RT97 app, to know which repeater number it is. So right now I have it on 467550. I look at the app, 467550 is repeater channel number 1. So I can just come over to my radio here. This is the Retevis Alens H1G, and I can set it to repeater 1. Now, the repeater channels are standard. So I can go to any other radio. This is a walkie-talkie, you know, completely different interface and everything. And I can say, okay, well, that's repeater 15. So I have to know that 467500 is actually GMRS channel 15 on the repeater channel. So some radios are going to be easy. You're going to go to repeater channel 1. In the case of the walkie-talkie, it's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I just have to know which is which. And in theory, these should talk to each other. I hit transmit over here, the receive pops up over here. I hit transmit over here, the receive pops up over here. And now we are talking with 2 different types of radios through the repeater. Pretty darn cool and pretty easy. Again, if you wanted to get more complex, you could set up the privacy codes so only the people who have that information are able to use it. But if you want to make it open to everybody, you can make it open to everybody. It doesn't really matter. So this is, like I said, this is the Retevis, who are a channel sponsor, by the way. So they did send this to me to check out and to set up here for my community. So I really appreciate them helping out with that. And we may use it in some cases out in the field somewhere. We have the ability to do that. So maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see how it goes. But big thank you to Retevis for sponsoring not only this video, but our entire channel moving forward. So big thank you to Retevis. Check out the links below for more information on their products. If you have any other questions on repeaters, put them in the comments below. Love to hear it. I think I've tried my best to simplify what a repeater is, what it's used for, some use cases, how easy they are, at least this one is, to set up, and why you might want one yourself. These go for about $350, often on sale. Be sure and look for different discounts that are available and see if, I mean, assuming this is something you want to invest in, it's certainly not for everybody, but this was more to not only just explain really what repeaters are and how they work, but maybe some people might want one for themselves. So thanks for watching, everybody. Totally appreciate it. Be sure and, subscribe if you like this type of content. We really appreciate the subscribers, and it helps YouTube push this out to other people who may have a similar interest. So big thank you to the people who subscribe, as well as our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. From Katerina and myself, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the trails. Bye-bye.